Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be shedding light on why you should drop out of school 100% of the time. So why would it behoove you to drop out of school? Well, first and foremost, much to my dismay, much to my consternation, much to my chagrin, much to my agony, much to my distress, much to my grief, under duress, against their own volition, against their own accord, against their own free will, children are dispatched to a 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory indoctrination camp, or a 13-year prison, or a 13-year concentration camp at a young age. Whatever you want to call it, is an environment that would never exist in a free market economy. However, we live in a controlled market economy, unfortunately, and it's completely inhumane, unvindicated, unwarranted, and unjust that the mandate to attend the 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camp, or indoctrination camp, or prison remains active and has not been abolished. People should be pioneers of their own destiny. They should be able to forge their own futures. They shouldn't be artificially set back. They should not be forced into a 13-year period of stagnation. They should be at liberty to have purview over the sacrosanct, indispensable, non-replenishable, invaluable, finite, precious time. So what are the repercussions appertaining to attending the 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory indoctrination camp, other than the fact that it sets you back by at least 37,440 hours? Well, by attending the 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory indoctrination camp, you're going to succumb to chronic burnout, chronic fatigue, chronic stress, accelerated cellular aging, telomere shortening, reduced intelligence, agony, and of course, stunted growth, physically, mentally, and spiritually. You're foregoing at least 37,440 hours of additional sleep. You're foregoing at least 37,440 hours of additional exercise and of additional time to consume nutrient-dense, alkaline, antioxidant-rich, health-promoting, raw fruitarian foods. So it's detrimental and deleterious for your physical well-being, mental well-being, and spiritual well-being that from a young age people are corralled into this K-12 13-year insalubrious indoctrination camp. Nothing beneficial can ensue from being strong-armed, from being mandated, from being forced, from being thrusted into this K-12 insalubrious 13-year compulsory indoctrination camp. People should not be sentenced to a 13-year prison for being born. People should not be sentenced to a 13-year concentration camp for being born. Now, when you graduate from the 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory indoctrination camp, you receive absolutely nothing. So you're uncompensated for your 37,440 plus hours of hard work and efforts. You do not receive a pension. You do not receive any remuneration. You do not receive any benefits. You do not receive a stipend. You do not receive a grant. You do not receive a universal basic income. You receive absolutely nothing. And as you guys unequivocally know, your high school diploma is devoid of intrinsic value and is devoid of extrinsic value. You cannot even resell it on the second-hand market. It does not have an iota of merit. It's completely worthless in every facet. There's no job that you can attain with a high school diploma that you cannot attain with a GED. A GED is also equally worthless, but it's comparable to a high school diploma, and in stark contrast to a high school diploma, can be earned in mere hours instead of 4 years. So, beyond the aforementioned, what's truly detrimental about attending school is that you're foregoing 37,440 hours of building lucrative brands and creating income-generating assets. Imagine how much wealth you can generate as an adult if you were to cultivate lucrative brands amid your childhood years. Imagine how much wealth you can draw forth as an adult if you were to create a copious amount of meritorious income generating assets at a tender age. Ryan, for instance, from Ryan's World, he's able to earn at least $29,500,000 per year as a result of building a lucrative brand and creating income generating assets from a young age. Income generating assets can include videos, podcasts, blogs, online courses, ebooks, audiobooks, articles, mobile applications, mobile games, songs. Income generating assets can allow you to perpetually generate revenue as long as they're consumed or procured. On the other hand, if you work a dispiriting, harrowing, agonizing, debilitating, dreadful, wretched, dead-end job, you only receive money on the front end. You do not receive a penny on the back end, assuming you're working a real private sector job based on voluntary demand. And it's the utmost inefficacious way to generate wealth, but that's a topic for another video. On the other hand, with income generating assets, even though you're not guaranteed a penny on the front end nor on the back end, you have the latent potential to always earn more revenue in the future as long as your brand content is consumed and as long as your brand products are procured. Now, hypothetically, if you did not want to create any income generating assets nor cultivate any lucrative brands at a tender age for whatever reason, and if you had purview over your time in a hypothetical situation in which you were able to work for those 37,440 hours towards generating revenue in traditional job capacity, you could earn at least $449,280 over the course of 37,440 hours if you were receiving an average of $12 per hour over the course of 13 years. After grossing $449,280 in this hypothetical situation, which you had purview over how your sacrosanct time was allocated as a child, if you were to invest this money into buying income generating assets such as stocks with high dividend yields, annuities, bonds, index funds, mutual funds, and if you were to earn a compound annual growth rate of a conservative 10% per year on average by the time you reached 68 years old, assuming this money was left in the stock market for at least half a century or 5 decades, as well as in other markets such as a bond market, assuming it grew at least 10% per year, you'd have over $52 million by the time you reach 68 years old if you're able to work for 37,440 hours at a rate of $12 per hour over the course of 13 years and subsequently invest this $449,280 that you grossed into the stock market, in which your income generating assets as an aggregate allowed your most to grow to the extent of you reaping an average compound annual growth rate of at least 10% per year. So, having a degree, having a diploma is utterly worthless. There's no job that you can attain with a GED that you cannot attain without it. Moreover, there's no job guarantee after you earn a diploma. So, really, it just artificially sets you back by 37,440 hours. You do not attain any practical skills post-graduating from school. You do not assimilate any pragmatic knowledge from attending the K-12 insalubrious compulsory indoctrination camp. You should drop out 100% of the time so that you can safeguard your sacrosanct, indispensable, non-punishable, finite time and earmark that time towards cultivating lucrative brands, creating income-generating assets, or working in other capacities so that you can not have a future that's fraught with indigence, destitution, insurmountable debt, nor extreme poverty. You want to be able to have a prosperous, abundant future and move your life in a forward movement trajectory. You should inquire about being homeschooled and see if you can avail yourself of the opportunity. If you're homeschooled, then you have the autonomy to learn at your own pace, learn practical skills, practical knowledge that can be transposed to disparate contexts, and you could also work in the interim as you're being homeschooled towards fostering a prosperous future. You ideally want your income to be on autopilot so that you have the latent potential to earn revenue in perpetuity as long as your content is consumed or as long as your brand products are procured. So there's no benefit appertaining to graduating from school. There's no job guarantee, there's no pension, there's no remuneration, there's no compensation, there's no stipend, there's no benefits, there's no grant, there's no universal basic income that is conferred to you post-graduating from school. So since you have nothing to gain, why not safeguard your time? Why not retain your time? Why not have purview over your time and your destiny? And implore your parents to homeschool you so that you can start building wealth at a young age so that your future is not fraught with extreme poverty and insurmountable struggles that are almost impossible to overcome. I hope that you deemed this video to be insightful and enthralling. Have a blissful day. Goodbye.